Welcome back to your ultimate pit stop, Piston Pundit. In this video, we're unpacking the global ripple effects of Trump's $2 trillion Gulf tour and how it may have driven Canada to shift gears away from U.S. trade reliance. As America celebrates flashy Gulf deals, Canada is quietly redrawing its economic map, strengthening ties with Asia and Europe while distancing itself from Washington's unpredictability. With tariffs, tech, and auto supply chains all in the crosshairs, the stakes are rising fast. Buckle up. Here are the key developments reshaping the future of trade, manufacturing, and the vehicles we rely on every day. The Gulf Tour, flashy deals, fading traction. What began as a parade of pomp, featuring Cybertrucks, fighter jets, and palatial receptions, quickly shifted gears into strategic maneuvering. Trump's Gulf visit delivered jaw-dropping figures: $600 billion from Saudi Arabia, $243 billion from Qatar, and $200 billion from the UAE. These deals promised everything from AI megaprojects to energy and defense initiatives. But here's the red flag. Many of these deals are non-binding, more sizzle than substance. Echoes of Trump's earlier $450 billion claim, which never fully materialized, are hard to ignore. Analysts warn this latest round could be another high-octane press release that runs out of gas before it hits the track. Meanwhile, the supposed counterbalance to China's Belt and Road Initiative took a strange detour. When Qatar reportedly gifted Trump a luxurious Boeing 747-8. Meant as a diplomatic gesture, the gift sparked bipartisan outrage in D.C., raising constitutional concerns under the Emoluments Clause. Whether for show or statecraft, the move blurred the lines between politics and personal benefit. But while the U.S. revved up its PR engine abroad, Canada was busy recalibrating its trade GPS closer to home. Canada's trade strategy: shifting lanes, not just gears. As the U.S. cruised through gold-plated Gulf deals, Canada was fine-tuning its transmission. After years of retaliatory tariffs, particularly on steel and aluminum, Prime Minister Mark Carney downshifted on domestic spending and accelerated efforts to diversify globally. Canada's exports to the U.S. have started losing torque, while shipments to China, especially crude, canola, and lumber, are gaining speed. Simultaneously, talks under CETA are intensifying, and Pacific trade partnerships are becoming more than just backup plans. This isn't a knee-jerk reaction, it's an intentional drift. From timber to transmissions, Canadian industries are repositioning their supply chains. If the U.S. continues lurching from one protectionist pothole to another, Ottawa has made it clear: we're building a wider road, and tensions are rising beyond trade. Canada has strongly opposed the U.S. using fentanyl-linked concerns to justify fresh tariffs, calling it political posturing. Ottawa isn't waiting around. Instead, they're investing in finished goods, like turning raw lumber into mass timber products, and deepening trade ties with India and Southeast Asia. Enjoying the ride so far? Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and stay tuned with Piston Pundit, your go-to garage for global vehicle insight. From trade twists to tech transitions, we break down the forces shifting gears in the automotive world. Now, let's get into how this trade turbulence is sending shockwaves through the auto industry. Torque trouble. Auto industry feels the heat. The aftershocks of U.S. tariffs are slamming hard into Canada's auto industry. Plants in Ontario, including Stellantis, have trimmed operations. GM's Oshawa plant cut its third shift, laying off 700 workers. Even with U.S. relief on USMCA-covered parts, tariffs still hit any component outside the agreement. OEMs and suppliers are pumping the brakes, slowing investment and hiring. And it's not just automakers. Steel, aluminum, and softwood industries are also seeing stress cracks. Motorcycles, appliances, and other goods depending on U.S. imports are facing price pressure. For now, consumer prices in Canada remain in check, but analysts expect that won't last. Within 6 months, price hikes are predicted as rising costs ripple across the supply chain. To toughen its economic armor, Ottawa is pushing value-added manufacturing. BC's $11 million investment into mass timber tech is just one example. But more horsepower and federal fuel is needed to scale such initiatives. And if the pressure continues, politics will have to step in. So let's look at how lawmakers are responding. Diplomatic detours, tech, trust, and tensions. With Canada remapping its trade trajectory, U.S. lawmakers are starting to smell the burning rubber. A bipartisan group recently visited Ottawa to smooth things over. But Carney was firm. The era of deep integration is behind us. What's ahead? Smaller, sharper partnerships, like NORAD upgrades or a Golden Dome-style missile shield. But these defense projects can't cover the widening cracks in trade trust. The U.S. Congress, meanwhile, is growing wary of tech transfer risks from Trump's Gulf overtures. With figures like Elon Musk, Sam Altman, and Jensen Huang in tow, concerns over AI and semiconductor deals are rising fast. Gulf nations like Saudi Arabia and the UAE are throwing billions at AI campuses and distancing themselves from Chinese firms. But is it genuine transformation or strategic sleight of hand? If the U.S. miscalculates, it might be arming the very nations that could challenge its tech edge. All of this leads us to the bigger picture. The very framework of North American trade may be coming undone. North America's cracked economic chassis. Beneath the headlines, the structural integrity of North American trade is beginning to buckle. NAFTA once bound the US and Canada like a welded frame, strong if not flashy. But now, that frame is cracking under tariff pressure and political distrust. Canada's 25 to 30% retaliatory tariffs on US goods have collided with Washington's accusations of Canadian protectionism. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent has floated a regional trade revival, but Ottawa isn't buying the spin. The trust meter is running on fumes. Instead, Canada is leaning hard into diversification. The upcoming federal budget is expected to funnel resources into clean energy tech, AI development, and rare earth supply chains. Carney's cabinet wants to make Canada less dependent on U.S. ports and parts, and more agile in trading with Europe, India, and Southeast Asia. This is trade strategy with a turbocharged twist. Go lean, go digital, go global. Meanwhile, industries rooted in classic North American interdependence, like autos, energy, and agriculture, are bracing for further fragmentation. The days of a Detroit engine block crossing the border 5 times before final assembly may soon be history. Which brings us to our last stretch. What does this all mean going forward? Final lap, trade turbulence in overdrive. Trump's Gulf Roadshow was pitched as a $2 trillion masterstroke of American deal-making. But instead of boosting unity with close allies like Canada, it may have deepened economic fissures. The mega deals look shiny on the surface, but scratch the paint, and the structural bolts seem loose. Canada's quiet pivot, meanwhile, is anything but reactive. It's strategic, calculated, and increasingly permanent. From tariff tensions to tech transfers, we're watching a realignment of trade and power that could reshape how the global auto and energy industries function for years to come. Now it's your turn. What do you think? Has Canada made the right call by shifting its trade gears away from the US? Do you believe Trump's Gulf tour is a smart, long-game move, or a risky bet with little traction? And how do you think this rift could impact vehicle prices, supply chains, and your next car purchase? Let us know in the comments below. We want to hear your take on this turbocharged trade twist. And if you enjoyed this breakdown of geopolitics, trade tension, and auto sector shockwaves, hit that subscribe button to stay tuned for more updates from Piston Pundit, your go-to garage for global vehicle insight. Thanks for watching. We'll see you at the next pit stop. You can now check out any of the videos on the screen. There's plenty more to explore.